As we have a definition of system as presented in a previous video, the question is, how do we get from here to systems thinking? That is often the case. The answer is not directly. We're going to take a slight detour through something called analysis and synthesis. Analysis is an approach to understanding that we have used forever, essentially, and that it essentially is an approach where we take something, we take it apart, we study the pieces, and then we put the pieces back together, and from an understanding of the pieces we attempt to understand the whole, because the thing is not the sum of its parts, but the product of its interactions. And though in using analysis, it has a shortcoming, which is probably evident from the results that we have produced from our problem solving for as far back as we can remember. And the difficulty with analysis is that it does not allow us to answer the why questions about things. Not until such time as we study something in the context of its operation to understand how it does what it does, or why it does what it does. Something called synthesis, by actually taking something and understanding how it functions in a larger context to understand its purpose, are we then able to answer the why questions about something. Think of an alarm clock. You can take an alarm clock and you can take it all apart and you can study all the pieces. You can understand how the pieces work and how the pieces interact, and you can put them all together and you can see the clock function. And you can study the clock forever, but you will never be able to understand why it is that the clock ticks at the rate that it does. Not until such time as you study the clock in the context of the rotation of the Earth does the movement of the clock make any sense. So you can study the clock and you can understand how it works, but you can't understand why it does what it does in the context of the clock. You have to understand it in a larger context to understand its purpose. So any solid understanding will combine analysis and synthesis. Some people, when they develop a systems perspective, they begin to say that synthesis is good and analysis is bad, and they essentially, what is it, they say they throw the baby out with the bathwater. One might better think of them as two sides of a coin, and doing either one without the other develops only a partial understanding of something. So that we do analysis to understand how something functions in the way that it does, and we study that thing in a larger context to understand its purpose, why it is that it operates the way that it does. And from here we will progress to understanding what systems thinking is, sort of in a fashion. And I hope this has been meaningful, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.